Hello everyone, my name is Courtney G. I'll be doing my project today on Trinh T. Hope you enjoy. Trinh T. was born in 1952 in a small town by the name of Saigon, Vietnam. This was located in South Vietnam in an area that was completely surrounded by the war that was going on at the time. She grew up in a difficult time with a small family. They did not have very much money. Um, and a means to get by, they started to um, immigrate to an area that was out on the outskirts of the war area to take her mind off some of the things that were happening around her and the issues she was facing. She started composing music at a young age. That's what she entered school in order to become is a music composition. Um, After immigrating to the United States of America, she attended the University of Illinois, where she later received two master's degrees and a PhD as well. During her time here, she has written over 15 books, directed over 9 films, and have received numerous awards during that time period, such as the American Film Institute's National Independent Filmmaker Maya Dean Award, and also the Trailblazers Award from the MIPDOC. Miha's contributions. She has given us work that was based off of the post-colonial times and also a lot of work based off of feminism. She's been known to take two polar opposite views on a subject and present them in a way that allows one to explain the other. Minh-Ha has been very instrumental in sociology with her contributions on post-colonial and feminism studies. She's developed innovative and experimental approaches to her views and her work. A lot of the books that she's presented have been based on feminism viewpoints that she sees, and she speaks about those from looking at each one of them in 3 different areas. The 3 areas that Minh-Ha speaks about, she refers to as her triple bind of women. This happens when you're forced to identify as either a woman writer, a writer of color, or a woman of color when you're presenting a project to the world. Trinh considers the triple bind of women an extent to define. She presents it as an extent to define for herself what she is not as far as labels go. She does not feel as though any woman should be labeled to be something that she does not see fit to be labeled. One of Trinh T.'s most recognized films is The Reassemblage of 1982, where she took a trip to Africa and she documented the day-to-day lives of people who were living around different areas on that continent, just to show the things that they go through, the troubles that they face in a more realistic manner. There was an uproar actually during the screening of The Reassemblage in 1983 at the Flattery Film Seminar there. There was a crowd of angry Asian Americans there that did not understand why Minh-Ha had chosen to go to Africa to document the things and the issues that they were facing there instead of going back to the Vietnam and documenting some of the issues that her actual people were facing at the time. She received a lot of backlash from the film and the critics who were reviewing the films as well. No one really could understand her point of view in this. She was quoted as saying that she would sometimes just cut out the film or cut out the sound just so they could show what the actual feelings were of the individuals that she was recording. She was looking to just speak as a nearby subject and not about the actual culture's background as to why she chose not to go to the Vietnam and do the same. The next slide, you'll see a video of a short clip of this film.
Reality is delicate. My irreality and imagination are otherwise dull. The habit of imposing a meaning to every single sign. She kept it in diverse places. At the end of the stick she used to dig the ground with, for example. First create needs, then health. Sitting underneath the thatch roof, which projects well beyond the front wall of his newly built house, a Peace Corps volunteer nods at several villagers who stop by to chat with him. While they stoop down beside him and start talking, he smiles blankly, a pair of headphones over his ears and a Walkman Sony cassette player in his lap. I teach the women how to grow vegetables in their yard. This will allow them to have an income, he says, and hesitates before he concludes. I'm not always successful, but it's the first time this has been introduced into the village. It's the first time this has been introduced into the village. Woman is depicted as the one who possessed the farm. Only she knew how to make fire.
This is a review of the film from the National Gallery of Canada. The film of Trinity Meha presents an incisive critique of the structures of traditional Western documentaries, which so often depict other cultures in a condescending way. Rich, lyrical, fluid, her finely crafted cinematic style is distinctive. It incorporates complex musical structure, performances, text, jump cuts, long pause silences, and other techniques, avant-garde cinema to create a new language of film. Another important work of Trinity Meha was The Woman, Native, Other. In this book, she aimed to explore the connection between gender, race, and identity within writers. This book, she goes a little bit deeper into her viewpoints and her outlooks on the triple bind that women have to face on their everyday lives, especially when it comes to publishing. Um, this book brings awareness to the problems that all non-Western women face. In Woman Native Other, Trinha speaks as a woman of a multicultural racism, speaks about women of multicultural racisms and the things that they have to partake on a day-to-day basis and the powers and dominance that try to overpower them in their writings and their ideas as well. She states, to begin with, how do they face the sad fact that to be well educated and have access to publishing, of itself marks them as advantaged beings. The book in whole challenges the Western convictions essentially within the language and smart convictions presented rapidly. This is an excerpt from Trinh T's work, Infinite Layers in Third World. You and I are close, we intertwine. You may stand on the other side of the hill once in a while, but you may also be me while remaining what you are and what I am not. Trinh T's work on the section of Infinite Layers in Third World, she goes into detail regarding the differences of that distinction of the uppercase I and the lowercase I. The I itself is symbolizing the infinite layers that we all have within and how each layer of us pertains to a different subject or a different area that we've been affected or we've gone through something particular. She elaborates on the fact that everyone goes back to the notion of wanting to remain authentic to themselves. So we as women, we search for our identity, going down to the most basic aspect of that, being male versus female, and what the male is supposed to do versus what the female is supposed to do. Minh-Ha points out in some areas that men or women who are faced with the disbelief of who they were born as is different from what they may think they are within themselves, that they face the most issues in life with dealing with that mentally, that undeveloped area. Infinite Layers Third World allow us, the woman, to come into the realization that she does not have to be labeled by anything or cannot be labeled by anything because we have so many different roles to play that there would never be enough labels to, or a label that could compose them all into one. Yet some women are still treated lesser than the men, and even being called a woman is considered an insult on nowadays. The separation of men and women is where the third world comes into consideration, being separated from everyone else, and the world being male dominated, while the women are in a third world society within that, free to do as we please, but not totally free at all. Being considered a part of the third world for women can be both negative and positive. Negative when taking into consideration the issues we are forced to endure and bear, and positive for standing out and handling those in ways that come forth. This project has truly allowed me to get in depth with learning just truly about what Trinh T wanted to present in all of her works in life. She felt as though each thing that she had ever saw or encountered in life, she wanted to make either a film about that or a book that spoke to her interactions and her feelings regarding that. It was very important that women had a say in a word left here on earth, in her opinion. As a woman of color, I can appreciate the effort and the thought process that she's placed in all of her books regarding women and feminism, showing that we do have a voice, and this is how our voice can be presented in several different ways, and this is how the outlooks of that voice have come to be presented as well. The quote on the side here is from one of her Infinite Works, Third World paragraphs as well. It went by me something very beautiful, just went by me something not to tell in words, and feeling so fragile, so wow. Something yet to tell is no longer why, and when it left, I can't tell. Thank you for taking some time out and watching my video on Trinh T and just a brief description of her life and her contributions to sociology over this past decade. I really do hope you enjoy and have a great day. Bye-bye.